you know, when I watched the debate, obviously earlier before the debate, I said this was an opportunity for Ron DeSantis to hopefully build on the momentum that he got from Kim Reynolds, the governor of Iowa, you know, endorsing him. And Ron DeSantis did okay tonight. He certainly didn't do a poor job. He still comes across very angry. He comes across divisive, talking about elites. But I thought the most interesting thing is that what's going to be remembered out of this debate is the interplay between Nikki Haley and Vivek Ramaswamy. Right. And that's a problem for Ron DeSantis, because what happens is when Vivek Ramaswamy attacks Nikki Haley and her family and the fact that she's a bad mother in his opinion, because she allows his daughter to be on TikTok, you know, and Nikki Haley fights back. That's a great moment for Nikki Haley. That's Nikki Haley being protective, being a mom, being all those sorts of things that inures to her benefit and why she's rising in the poll. And instead, Ron DeSantis just ends up having to stand between the two of them, just sort of looking on as a passive party in that case. And that's the problem for Ron DeSantis is, where was his breakout moment tonight? I didn't hear it, and that's the problem for him.
Did you think he looked awkward?
Well, you know, Ron DeSantis is never comfortable on stage. Look, he delivered a few good lines that he had, but he's not good with the back and forth. He doesn't want to get into the mix, and I think that's a problem for him. You know, when you've got Nikki Haley to your right and Vivek Ramaswamy on the left, you know, and you're just trying to talk about, you know, we're gonna kill them dead at the border and they're gonna stone cold dead, and the same lines he's been repeating. And again, you know, like when we'll talk, I'm sure, about the abortion question, he's repeating the same lines that he's had on abortion, and he's just not adapting. That's the problem that I see in his campaign.
Last night, we know, was a big win for Democrats, so we expected the candidates tonight to sort of refine their approach on a number of issues. Did we see that happen, and if so, where? So, again, I think that this was really interesting because you saw how Republicans, since 2022, in the 2022 election, and then last night in Virginia and Ohio, they lost badly because of the issue of abortion. And the Republican Party has a real problem in terms of how they're going to communicate on this issue going forward in the general election. Ron DeSantis is doubling down. He's supporting the 6-week abortion ban that he had here. He's talking again in very stark terms. He's not really nuancing his message at all, given the agenda. And I understand that because he's appealing in Iowa to a very conservative audience. But you heard Nikki Haley and others try to navigate this, and they're all having trouble because the fact is, what we've seen in election after election now, the Republican Party position on abortion is out of the mainstream. Even for, not just for independents, but even moderate Republicans, and they just haven't found a way to sort of articulate a path through. Nikki Haley was trying to say, let's find the areas we agree on and do that, but others are still trying to work their way through it. This is going to be a major issue next year. I know Republicans don't want to talk about abortion, they want to talk about the economy, but we didn't hear a lot on what they would do to fix the economy either, so it's a real problem for them.
Yeah, and it sounds like Ron DeSantis putting a lot of his effort in Iowa, what happens there, and Donald Trump did not win Iowa when he ran for president, so maybe that's what Ron DeSantis is hoping for the most.
No, Ron DeSantis' entire campaign is an Iowa strategy. That's what it is right now. He's moved most of his staff into Iowa. He's spending in Iowa. He's fighting in Iowa. He's hoping to try to somehow, you know, maybe not win Iowa, but beat expectations and then roll that into New Hampshire so that he can have a one-on-one matchup. But CBS News did some great polling where they started talking about, you know, like as candidates fade away, as candidates drop off and leave, where do their voters go? And even when you get down to a head-to-head matchup, you know, Donald Trump versus Ron DeSantis or Donald Trump versus Nikki Haley, if it just gets down to those two, you know, fighting for delegates for the convention, Donald Trump still gets 63% of the Republican base. And so, you know, these candidates, Ron DeSantis is trying to run to the right of Donald Trump, Nikki Haley running a little bit more to the left of Donald Trump, a little bit more moderate, but neither of them have a pathway right now that can be easily seen. Look, 68 days to Iowa. We still have time to go, but right now this is starting to set pretty quickly.
Okay, Jim.
Yeah, thank you for your expertise. Next debate is in Alabama.